Good evening. Welcome to New Mexico Philharmonic's Wednesday Night Live. And we have a great show for you tonight. And I'm so amazed that our show is now reaching so many places besides Albuquerque in New Mexico and the entire United States. We have friends who are tuned in with us tonight from Germany, from Brazil, from Russia, from Canada, from Argentina, and even from Korea. So thank you for being with us tonight. Our guest tonight is incredible pianist Olga Kern. Olga became worldly famous after winning gold medal at the Van Cliburn International Piano Competition, one of the most important and most prestigious competitions in the world. And her very first engagement after winning the prize was in New Mexico with the New Mexico Symphony at the time, now the New Mexico Philharmonic. And she has been coming back to Albuquerque every year since. She became so prestigious and so famous in our midst that now we have our own Olga Kern Piano International Competition in Albuquerque, and this happens every 3 years. Last year, we just had the second edition of the great Olga Kern Piano International Competition. So let's start our show listening to an incredible recording of Olga performing Rachmaninoff's Prelude Opus 32, number 12 in G sharp minor. Wasn't that gorgeous? She's very well known for interpreting a Rachmaninoff. After all, it was with the Rachmaninoff's Concerto No. 3 that she won the gold medal at Van Cliburn. Let's hear another short piece with Olga. This one is by Moritz Moszkowski, the famous Sparks. What an incredible technique, such command of repertoire, and the stage presence, the energy, the connection with the audience. Well, she's such a unique artist. No wonder she is one of the most sought after pianists of her generation. Well, I'm speaking to you live from Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's just after 10 p.m. here. Olga presently lives in New York City, but she's been quarantined in Moscow, Russia, for the last 3.5 months, staying with her mother and with her son Vladik, who's also a wonderful pianist. So we had to record our conversation earlier on, and we will now transmit to you and start our conversation. Enjoy it and have a great time. Hey, Olga, it's so great to have you on our show. How are you?
I'm fine. It's so great to see you, Roberto. It's been
I know
so
this is.
It's just, yeah.
I can't believe it. You know, we were supposed to be together in Albuquerque in April for our wonderful concert with Beethoven's Emperor.
Yeah.
And that was the first concert for me that got canceled, you know. So I miss you. It's good to see you.
It's so great to see you. You know, I missed, of course, being in Albuquerque and work with you. You know, my pandemic, the situation started a little bit before that, in March, because my last concert was in Iceland, in Reykjavik, this Iceland Philharmonic, and then after that I supposed to be in Germany and then continuing in Italy and other European countries, and that was canceled already. So I couldn't fly to US, so I needed to go back to my parents, to Russia, and then here I am after 4.5 months. I'm still here because Russian borders are closed. I can't go anywhere. I can't fly home to New York, so I'm here in Moscow.
Wow. And you know, for me also, I had been rehearsing Aida, a full production with like 300 artists, and then we got almost to the dress rehearsal, and then we got canceled. And then we were supposed to have our concert in New Mexico. I miss being in New Mexico because it's such a special place, you know.
Me too. It's
so
so
you
sunny, it's so beautiful. It's just such a special place there.
I know, for me it's like my home now, and for you it's like your second home, because you have such a beautiful history over almost 20 years already, right, with New Mexico.
Yes. And also, of course, being you know, there more often now with my competition, Olga Kern International Piano Competition, which thank God happened last year in 2019. So we didn't need to postpone, because now all the competition postponed till the next year. So I'm glad we did the competition in the right time, and we were all there, and all the international jury were there, and yeah, so it's great for me. New Mexico and Albuquerque especially, it's yeah, as you said, it's a second home already.
You know, we were so lucky with your competition. I have to say, that final concert, I enjoyed it so much, you know, because I enjoy accompanying, and I have done many competitions, but there was something really, really exciting about it. And right after that, we had a chance to perform Rock 2 in Sao Paulo, and that was amazing, I have to say. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being back on stage with the New Mexico Philharmonic with you. And so you're in Moscow with your parents.
Yes, yes, I am here with my parents. Of course, they're very happy to see me and to spend time with me already 4 months. But of course, I miss being home. Already for me, home is New York. So it's wonderful that I have opportunity to be with my parents. I don't see them very often. It's great. My son is also here. So he actually flew, but I understood that I will be staying here for a longer time. He was in US, so I told him, you must fly, Vladik, please fly. And then he was in one of the last flights going to Moscow. He flew through Paris, I think. So he's here also with me. So at least it's kind of like family reunion, in the way.
And that's fantastic to have such an opportunity. I mean, there are many good things that come out of this pandemic. One of the things is that we get to be closer, to family and spending time, with loved ones. And especially if you're back in your hometown in Moscow,
Yes.
that's so special. I remember once you told me that when you're 8 years old, you had the privilege of going to Vladimir Horovitz's return to Russia for the first time after so many decades that he had been away. He comes back to Moscow for a recital, and this little 8-year-old girl, blonde girl, was there watching in one of the front seats. What was that experience like?
I will never forget that experience. It's like unforgettable moments you have in life, So that was one of them for me. My grandfather had one ticket and he gave it to me.
Wow.
So I was the lucky one. I was sitting, as you said, in one of the first rows. Actually, now this video is available on DVD, so everyone can see my little blonde curly hair. And of course, this recital was absolutely historical. His comeback to Russia was historical. It was an enormous amount of people in the Tchaikovsky concert hall. The balcony of the hall was almost like, going down with all the weight of the people. It was incredible. And the energy, electricity from the audience going to him and from him going to the audience, I'll never forget. And, his sound, when he was playing, the range of the colors, of the dynamics, of that incredible sounds, from really pianissimo, really soft sounds, to huge 5/4, incredible loud but beautiful sound. I will never forget. I never heard anyone.
Do you want to hear something funny?
Live, so colorful. It was incredible.
You want to hear something funny? I was a teenager studying at the pre-college at Juilliard at the time, and I heard this concert because it was broadcast, by one of the major, yes. And I remember, because what was so impressive to me, because we know Horovitz as the great interpreter of Tchaikovsky, of Rachmaninoff, all the great Russian repertoire. But then he played Scarlatti on that.
Scarlatti, oh my God,
that Scarlatti was incredible. The touch, so perfect, so delicate. I was like,
so refined,
I never knew Horowitz.
That delicious sound. It was amazing. It was amazing, really. So it was so incredibly inspiring for me as a little girl, who always loved piano. I always wanted to play piano. For me, that was really a changing moment in my life. To know that this kind of genius played, and I heard him, live. I actually remember his sound as it was yesterday. This is how memorable this concert was.
I believe you. I believe you, because these things, especially when you're that young, they really, it's like a life-changing experience.
Yeah. Yes.
And
yeah.
I actually, now knowing you as the artist that you are, I can see how that impacted you, and how that from an early start really gave you a direction. It's like, this is where I want to go. You know, this
Exactly,
is.
exactly.
But you were saying now you are an American citizen.
Yes.
Home for you is New York City in the United
Yes.
States, and you've sent us a number of recordings. Tell us about this next recording we're going to hear now.
This one is a very special composer, actually, because I love her, and it's a woman. And I performed this piece on the 8th of March this year, one of the last concerts actually in New York in WQXR at the Green Space in New York. It was all women's composer, that concert. And then I really wanted to do some special American composer, woman composer piece. And I love Amy Beach. So that's her piece. Now we will hear. And I thought, what the miniature I can play. And she actually wrote a lot of beautiful miniatures for the piano. So this piece called Chipmunk is actually a Petersboro chipmunk. And you will hear in this music, a real chipmunk. It's incredible.
Fantastic. So let's hear Chipmunk performed by Olga Kern, composer Amy Beach. Wow, that was amazing. I love that piece, Olga. And you know, most people don't know who Amy Beach was. I only discovered her 5 years ago because I was researching women composers. And there's this great American composers from the 19th century.
Exactly.
And she wrote so much great music. And we did hear in Sao Paulo one of her symphonies, which was so spectacular, so beautiful. So I'm glad to get to know more pieces by her.
Yes, you know, I also was introduced to, from her, violin pieces, for example. Tasmin Little, with whom we performed last year at my. I'm a director of Virginia Arts Festival, a chamber music series there. And when I invited, Tasmin, she said to me, let's do some Amy Beach, because she also wrote a beautiful music for violin. So it's not only for piano or a big, pieces for the orchestra, but also for the other instruments. It's a wonderful composer, a really wonderful composer. I will play definitely more music by her.
Fantastic. And, talking about the United States, because for me, when I moved to New York when I was 14, it sort of like became also my second home, and you were about, 19 or 20 when you moved to New York, right?
No, a little bit older, but still in my 20s. In my 20s.
Actually, when you won the big Van Cliburn competition, you were so young, but you already had a baby boy, Vladik.
Yes.
And that's so wonderful, to be able to start your career, and you're already a mother of a young boy. And one of the last times you performed in Albuquerque, you actually played with Vladik. I had the privilege of conducting Prokofiev Concerto No. 1 and Mozart double.
And Mozart double. Yes, that was wonderful. Oh, he loved that concert. He said, "Oh, maestro was conducting, and the orchestra was so beautiful." No, it was really special. I love working with him, because it's such a, it's such a family connection. I don't need to see him. I don't need to look at him. It just goes very naturally. It's really a special thing.
Yes, I could feel that. And our audience loved it when we had the chance to see both of you on stage. That was quite special. And was that his first time in New Mexico? I don't think so, right?
maybe actually it was, because he was not in New Mexico much. You know, he was always mostly in New York. He was traveling to Texas, of course, when Cliburn was alive. He was playing there, and then he was playing in California. But I think that New Mexico was the first time then. Because
Fantastic.
I remember I needed to go to another concert after that concert, and he stayed and he went by the cableway on the mountain, on top of the mountain. That was the first time for him. So yes, that was the first time.
Because after you won gold medal at Van Cliburn, one of your first engagements in the United States was in Albuquerque, right?
Yes, correct. Yes.
And you've been coming back almost every year since that.
Yes.
What are the things that you like in New Mexico, besides, of course, playing with the New Mexico Philharmonic? What are the other things that you enjoy?
You know, I must say that the people are so wonderful. They're so warm. They're the same warm. They have this beautiful energy from that beautiful sun. And they're so warm, these people. They're so welcoming you. You feel so good there. For me, people and nature there, the most important two things. Very good food. Very spicy sometimes, but wonderful. But I think that the most important for me always been nature, which is always inspiring me in many ways, even for me as a performer. And of course, people. These people are just so great there. And I miss all of them, all my friends, which I wanted to see in April. I can't wait for me to see all of them soon. You know, I really hope that we all be able to get to the concert hall one day soon.
Exactly.
And perform and share all of this beautiful music with each other.
Absolutely. You know, I couldn't agree more. You know, the people in Albuquerque and, you know, our audience is so amazing. I felt that from my very first concert. Actually, when I was a candidate for music director, my concert was with you as soloist. We did Rock 2.
I remember.
And I also did a very difficult symphony, which is Nielsen Symphony No. 4.
Oh, yeah.
And, but I fell in love with the plays right away. And the audience, you know, I always say we have one of the best audiences in North America and in the world because they're so warm. You know, we get standing ovations in the first half, in the second half. You always must play an encore.
It's fantastic. They're so appreciative of music. They love it. It's fantastic. For us as artists, there is nothing better than that. Nothing better.
Exactly. So. That makes all the difference in the world. And so it's such a pleasure. And, you know, I live in Sao Paulo, which is a city of 16 million people. And I live in this apartment. It's really a nice neighborhood, but you know, I don't get to see the sky so much or the horizon. So when I arrive in Albuquerque and all of a sudden you see this beautiful horizon and the sky and the Sandia Mountains and the moon.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The
yeah.
color of the sky. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, I always tell everybody who never been to New Mexico to visit because it's a very special place. Very special place.
So let's listen to your next video, which is Prokofiev Etude No. 4. Tell us about this piece.
It's a wonderful, great encore. I always love to play this piece as encore. And this recording I played after my recital at the Piano Texas Festival in Fort Worth. Also another special city for me because I won a Cliburn competition there. So it's one of the encores, and I love to play this encore. It's very energetic, very dramatic, very great, and Prokofiev language kind of piece. So it's Etude No. 4, C minor, by Prokofiev.
Wow, that was amazing. So much energy. What a flashy piece. What a delightful work, Olga.
Thank you. It's a lot of, you know, a lot of left hand. It's like all the time for the left hand, but you don't feel it much because it's such a great rhythm in it. So yeah, it's fantastic. Very flashy.
You know, since you mentioned the left hand, as a conductor, oh, this is Joy. You want to meet Joy? Just 1 second.
Yes, 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 yes. Please, 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 please. Oh, oh, such a great, sweet little dog. Hi.
This is Joy, and he's a
Oh.
great kid. He's a wonderful boy. He's
a
2 years, 4
boy,
months.
Such a sweet, sweet face. Yes.
He's a little
nice
jealous.
fur.
He's a little jealous because I'm not giving him attention. You know, I'm only talking to you.
Of course, of course.
But speaking of left hand, you know, for the conductors, it's so important when the soloist has a strong left hand, because that's really what we most listen to when we accompany, you know? And sometimes I'm very frustrated because left hand is not strong enough, is not present enough. And this is one thing that I loved about your performance, that your left hand is as strong as your right hand and present and solid, you know, which is so, so important. And I think this is part of the, I think this is part of you know, the great Russian school, you know, with, I mean, you felt that in Gilels, in Richter, in all these amazing Russian pianists. Do you have a favorite? I mean, of course, Horowitz, we talked about him, but besides Horowitz, who are your piano heroes, let's say?
Yeah, you know, you just said two, which is Richter and Gilels, of course, because they're so opposite and so different, you know, but they both, yes.
And you met them. You
left hand.
You had a chance to meet these guys, right?
I never met Gilels live, but I met Richter and I've been to one of his concerts live. He came to my brother's school, to Gnesin school. I studied in Central Music School and my brother studied in Gnesin school, which is two most important music schools in Moscow. And then I was there meeting my brother after the lessons. And then my mother said suddenly, I see Richter. I see here Richter.
Wow.
Why? What is he doing here? We need to check. So we found out that he was giving a recital the same evening, and no one knew about it because the poster was very small, very little, and no one paid attention at it. So there was only few people in this fantastic recital, but this incredible pianist, genius pianist, and I was one of them. You know, he was already older. He had the big lights like on the piano, like candelabers, like this kind of lights. All other lights were gone, like no lights at all. It was dark with this little light, you know. It was very interesting because there was a lot of shadows going, you know. It was like a very very special atmosphere. And then this big man is coming. He had the big hands, you know, and then he started to play. And the concert hall is very small in the school. So when he started, he played Brahms, Paganini variations, both books.
Wow.
And when he started, all these double notes with such a sound, I thought that wind will just throw us from this concert hall. That was how huge that sound was. And as you said, both hands were absolutely equal, you know. So that was another unforgettable performance. So for me, Richter is one of the most incredible pianists of that Russian generation, you know. And I always say to my students, left hand, you need to listen to the left hand, because as you said many times, especially with the orchestra, you need that left hand so much. and for the harmonies, for the basses. It's so important. And when you listen to Richter, you understand what it is to have real left hand. But speaking about other great pianists, I have so many. For a different repertoire, I prefer a different pianist. Yes, so I
Right.
love so many different, Michelangelo, of course,
Oh,
Claudio
yeah.
Arrau. Arrau is incredible. Oh my God, how is like
Oh, do you want to hear something?
Brahms concerti. Oh, it's one
Let
of
me
my
tell you a
favorite.
story. Let me tell I was 14 years old, and I was already principal horn of the Sao Paulo Opera, where I conduct now. But then the principal horn in Rio got sick, and they had me come to play 2 concerts in Rio as horn player. And guess what? 2 concerts with Claudio Arrau.
Oh, wow.
So the first concert, we played Beethoven's 5th Symphony in the first half, and the Emperor with Claudio Arrau in the second half. In the second concert, just 2 nights later, he played in the first half Liszt number 2, and in the second half, Brahms Concerto number 1.
Brahms is my favorite of all. His Brahms concerti is a masterpiece. What he
And
does
he was already 75 years old then,
Incredible.
So he needed help to come on stage, but it was amazing.
Amazing, amazing. He came to Russia and played both Brahms concerti, and this we have on the recording, but it was longer ago before I actually even was born. So yes, he was in Russia, so a lot of people actually heard him live there in Moscow. So he's very special. Of course, for me, I grew up on Rachmaninoff recordings, as you said, the Horowitz, of course, on Van Cliburn, because my parents, both of them, were at the first Tchaikovsky competition as the audience members. So they heard Van Cliburn all the rounds. And of course, for them, he was their favorite. And of course, we always had a lot of recordings of Van Cliburn at home. So I grew up with these recordings. The first time I heard Rachmaninoff Third Concerto, it was Van Cliburn, so not Rachmaninoff, Van Cliburn. So that's a very special pianist for me. And for me to meet him and to tell with honor that he was my friend, my mentor, my everything, my friend. He was so special. He was such a great human, being. So it's just not a great musician, not great artist, but also a great human. He was such a great person. So I'm very fortunate. Yes.
So Olga, so many memories, especially now that you're at your mom's house. So have you found some wonderful pictures of you when you're just a kid? Can you show us something?
Yeah, actually, as the kid, I don't have here anything somehow. I don't know why. Maybe I was not looking yet enough, because here is a lot of papers, but I found a few pictures, few photos of my great-grandmother. She was the singer, mezzo-soprano, and Rachmaninoff was accompanying her in a lot of concerts.
Really?
Yes, and we have this unique in the memoirs of Rachmaninoff. There is a lot of dates, unique dates, and places where Rachmaninoff was with her, accompanying her. She was singing Rachmaninoff songs, because Rachmaninoff wrote a lot for mezzo-soprano, So he was accompanying her. They were friends. And I have here, that's her.
Wow. She's so beautiful.
Yes, and here she's one of the roles in the opera theater. It's the Dargamishsky Mermaid, opera Mermaid by Dargamishsky.
Yes,
so
of course.
So it's one of the early operas, early composers before Tchaikovsky. So yeah, this she is here. She was a very, very wonderful, famous actually singer in Russia, but not outside of Russia, as many singers those times, you know. And one of the last concerts they did, it was before Rachmaninoff immigrated to United States. So it was 1906. They did together in Tatarstan, in Kazan. So yeah, there is like, and of course, I have my famous scores of Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto, which is here at my parents' place because it's the first edition of this concerto. It's from my great-grandmother, and I have it. It's kind of falling apart. This is why I can't take it with me anywhere anymore. But I won Clyburn competition with these scores, and now they're here always in my parents' place. So I'll show you. I don't know even if I will be able to get it. Oops, sorry, 1 second. If you still see me, I'm sorry, because it's not that easy to take it out. So it's like this.
Oh, look at that. That's incredible.
And it's all, you see how it's all handmade. It's all handwriting.
Amazing.
And it's written in French. It's written in French. And because the French language was one of the most important languages, and only after that Russian. So it's like this. It's a very big score, and you can see that it's falling apart. But this is one of my treasures. So
it is.
It's just here in my parents' place.
Now, do you still use the same fingerings as you did 20 years ago or even earlier? How much have you changed?
You know, I always use the same fingering. It's not about fingering. It's about different already understanding of the piece, different feel of the heart. You know, I played this piece since 15 years old, and I can say that right now it's totally different interpretation from that time. And at the time of the Van Cliburn competition, which was 2001, to the time of 2020 now, it changed. It changed. Of course, some things would never change. That musicality in it, because you need to find all the lyrical moments there. There's a lot of technical parts, yes, and a lot of orchestra as well. It's like a symphony with the piano, but still you need to find the musicality, which I try to keep it as much as possible. So yeah, but this piece went with me for many years in my life and my career.
Well, it's been such a great time to talk with you, Olga. I'm loving this. We could go on for hours.
I know.
You know? And I'm really excited because we do have in New Mexico 2 concerts next season featuring you. One of them, you will play Beethoven's Emperor Concerto with us. And then later in the spring of 2021, you're coming back to Albuquerque to play Rack number 2.
Yes.
In between, you're going to be playing all Beethoven 5 piano concertos with me here in Sao Paulo.
Hopefully.
I'm so much looking forward to that.
That's such a great project, because it's actually what, only 2 concerts or 3 concerts?
3 concerts in 2 days.
In 2 days.
Exactly.
Yeah, so no one is doing it. So I hope we will do it. We will do it in December. Yeah, I'm looking forward.
I'm so much looking forward to that. Thank you so much for spending time with us. You know how much.
I can't wait to come back to Albuquerque to see all my friends, in the orchestra, to work with you, to see you live.
Exactly. We're going to have so much fun.
Live. Yeah, and just
I can't wait.
Great music together. Yes.
So thank you so much. Stay safe. Please say hi to Vladek, to your mother, and
thank you.
Family.
They all say also big hello.
And now we can hear a final video from Olga, and I will let Olga tell us what it is.
It will be a Greek concerto at the end of the first movement, starting with the cadenza, for the piano only, and then continue to the end of the first movement. Very exciting, very fantastic piece, a Greek Concerto. I love this piece. I don't remember if I did it actually in Albuquerque, but I love playing this piece, and it was from the last year, I think. I played with the Johannesburg Philharmonic in South Africa, where I also loved going. So I would love you to hear that wonderful music in the end of this wonderful time together here online, but still at least we connected together. So yes, the end of the first movement, starting with the cadenza.
Wonderful. Thank you, Olga. Thank all of you, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Good night, everyone.
Bye.